It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview the Mercyhurst head men's ice hockey coach, Coach Rick Gotkin. How are you doing today?
I'm good, Brandon. How are you?
I'm doing good. Can you
Awesome.
talk about how you knew that you wanted to get started in your coaching career?
Yeah, you know what? It's interesting, Brandon. I was a physical education major when I was in college, and obviously, I thought I was going to be a phys ed teacher at a public school, high school, elementary school, whatever the case may be. And I obviously have a love for ice hockey and was playing, and had a chance, as you know, to take on an assistant's role at my alma mater at Brockport State. And I thought, I would try that for a year or two, and I really liked it, and here I am.
Of course, what was that like? Obviously, as you said, you thought you would be a PE teacher, and then now you're a coaching college.
Yeah, you know what? It just felt like a natural progression for me. I mean, like so many, I loved my playing career. I loved being around the hockey players, in the locker room and at practice and the bus. And really, coaching was something that I was able. I wasn't good enough to be an NHL player or even a minor league player, but and I wasn't sure if I was ever good enough to be a coach or not. But I knew I had a passion for it. I knew I enjoyed it. And I just found a way to stay in the game, and I'm really happy I did.
What was it like getting to play college at Sonny College?
You know what? It was a great experience for me. So when I was there, it was a Division II program. Back then, there was Division I, II, and III, and we were classified as Division II. And I think just like anywhere else, Brad, there's a college hockey program for anybody. You just have to find the one that's the best fit for you. And at the time, Brockport State was the perfect fit for me. I was able to go there and play a little bit and be with great people, great teammates, great coaches, and obviously get a great education. So I really enjoyed my time in Brockport, and it's a program that's still flourishing and doing well today.
Of course, what was that like getting to put on that Brockport ice hockey jersey?
Well, you know what? Like I said, I don't think I was that good of a player. So for me, it meant everything. Just the fact that I could play college hockey, in front of a couple of fans with some really, really good hockey players. So, and against some really good hockey players. So it was, I took a lot of pride in it, and again, I wouldn't have traded those years for anything.
How was it like, obviously, transferring over from being a player to now a coach at Sony?
So it's a big difference. So I think as a player, I used to sit on the bench and the coach would talk and I'd be thinking, this is so simple. Why don't you just do this? Or why don't you just do that? And then I went and I was an assistant coach, and even being an assistant coach isn't like being the head coach. The assistant coach was a position that I really, really loved, and I was able to get feedback in. But at the end of the day, the head coach made all the final decisions and whatnot. And then you become a head coach, and then you realize how difficult, even though you're doing something that you love in a sport that you love, you realize this is really a hard job. And it's getting harder, just as the NCAA transitions into certain things and whatnot. But through it all, I've always loved working with the student athletes. I've always loved being around the players. It's always neat watching them continue to learn and grow and have success. But I could tell you it was, from playing to being an assistant to being a head coach, those three steps were worlds apart and a big difference.
Of course, during your playing time, were you ever a player coach?
You know what? I was a player coach briefly in Europe. I was in Holland. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I was in Scotland, where I was a player coach. And, I enjoyed that. I mean, again, I was there for a year. And I kind of enjoyed it. I didn't play as much as I coached. I coached more, but I did play a little bit.
Of course, what was it like leaving Sony and getting your first assistant coaching job outside of your alma mater?
Yeah, you know what? So I left. Actually, I left Brockport and I ended up in Europe. In Scotland, and that was great. It was great to see another part of the world and travel a little bit and whatnot. I was very happy to come back to the United States, and I took an assistant's job at Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute, RPI, in Troy, New York, and I was there for 2 years, and that was my first taste of Division I hockey, and it was great. We had guys that went on to play in the National Hockey League, and the ECAC obviously is a great league, and I really, that kind of affirmed to me that this is something I want to do. And again, I learned a ton at RPI for those 2 years, and again, it just reinforced that I really wanted to be a head coach, and I wanted to make this a career.
Of course, what was that experience like coaching overseas?
You know what? I liked it. I thought going to Scotland would be a little bit easier because I'm thinking, they talk English. I won't have to learn a whole different language. But it's interesting because they have different slangs. So what's English to you and I sometimes is really hard to understand. And until you've been around, you don't really understand the different slangs that go into it. I don't know if you ever watch some of the British comedy shows, and you're sitting there and you can hear the studio audience all laughing at something, and you're like, well, I don't get what was so funny. Well, that's because they talk with certain slangs depending on what regions they're from. And if you don't understand the slang, you miss the whole thing. But no, I loved it. I was with a bunch of really dedicated, good Scottish hockey players. There was a couple of imports from Canada that were there. And we had a blast. We played 2 games a week, practice twice a week. And the rest of the time we had a chance to kind of just travel and see the country.
Of course, how is it like obviously leaving your alma mater from coaching and getting the job at Mercyhurst?
Yeah, so when I first came to Mercyhurst, it was a brand new program, and really had no idea where this might go. And the truth, Brandon, I thought I was only going to be here maybe a year or two, and fell in love with the city of Erie, and met my wife here. And, it ended up being quietly and very quickly for me 35 years later. But honestly, it's been absolutely great.
Of course, what was that experience like becoming the head coach for the first time in your coaching career in '88?
Yeah, so I was relatively young. I think I was only 28 years old. And I thought I knew a lot about hockey. Again, you don't realize what you don't know until you jump into that. And I had a lot of learning to do. I had a lot of adjusting to do. I think when I first came in, I was screaming and yelling, and I thought, hey, this is coaching, or be a real tough guy. And I quickly learned that is not going to work. That's not who I am. That's not my personality. And I learned quickly that you have to coach with your personality, and not try to be something or someone that you're not. Be yourself. And I did that. And like I said, it's been a great 35 years. I've been blessed. In the sense that we've had obviously great players, we've had great assistant coaches, great associate head coaches, and Mercyhurst has been terrific for me.
Of course, what were some of your fondest memories in the first beginning parts of coaching at Mercyhurst?
Yeah, you know what? So it was just because it was a new program, it was just really cool just to, see hockey sticks arrive, or pucks arrive, or our first players that we were recruited, come on campus. And then obviously that first game and whatnot. All of that was so exciting. And when I first got here, we didn't have our own rink. So, we played in all different places. We were kind of the boys on the bus. We'd be traveling, lots of road hockey games, home games in places like Fredonia, New York, and Meadville, Pennsylvania, and whatnot. So it was just really neat to have. There was always so many firsts. It's like almost like every day there was a new first, and to be part of that was really cool.
Of course, what was that moment like when you designed the jerseys for the first time?
Yeah, that was fun. And, I had no idea what I was doing. And I had some really good help from a guy named Dave Larson at Hooter Sportswear in Blaine, Minnesota. And he had a little shop that ended up being a really big entity. They did great stuff. And I told him what I wanted. I said, we're a new team, a new school playing hockey. I want to see the Mercyhurst name. And we came up with really what the Washington Capitals had, where we took the Y and the Capitals took the L and they dropped it down and made a hockey stick. And that's what we did. And, I thought we had great colors because, everybody was like red and white and blue and white and black and gold. And, and here we were green and blue, and I'm thinking, gee, you don't see too much green and blue in hockey. So I thought we had some really, really neat colors. The Hartford Whalers at the time were an NHL franchise. So we were able to get stuff that really wasn't that much custom made because when there's an NHL team, a lot of equipment, people have that stuff already. And the logo came out great, thanks to Dave Larson and Hooter Sportswear. And, it's been the logo ever since.
Of course, what was your fondest memories in 2001 to 3 going to the MAC championship?
Well, so that was really neat. So again, here we were in an emerging league in the MAC conference, and we had some great schools, some great teams, some great coaches, great players, and playing in the playoffs. And in 2001, winning that playoff championship, which also meant we'd get the first automatic bid for our conference to the NCAA tournament. And so we were the first team from the first school from a non-traditional hockey conference. And again, the MAC was new, and we got in, and back then there was only 12 teams. Now there's 16, but then there was only 12, and we went in as a 12 seed to Grand Rapids, Michigan, and we played the overall number 1 seed, University of Michigan, and we ended up losing 4-3 by a late goal, and it was unbelievable to be part of that. Again, the hype around it, people were trying to figure out who we were and what we were, and the different interviews with ESPN and the New York Times, and it was such a cool thing. And now it's pretty much commonplace. The tournament is expanded from 12 teams to 16 teams. The MAC ended up becoming Atlantic Hockey, and our representative every year does very, very well in the NCAA tournament.
Of course, what was that like switching conferences from the MAC to Atlantic Hockey, and obviously in 2005 and 14 winning the championship?
Yeah, so it was again, it was just something that was beyond our control. We loved the MAC, and basically the other schools decided that they wanted to be in a standalone hockey conference, and through the college presidents and athletic directors, Atlantic Hockey was born, and we just transitioned with that. And it was great. And again, to be successful, to again play in the playoffs and win a couple of conference championships and get back to the NCAA tournament was wonderful. But I'll tell you, there was nothing like 2001 when we were the first team from a non-traditional conference to play in the NCAA Division I men's ice hockey tournament. That was unbelievable. But it was great. I was happy for our student athletes, and they all did a great job.
How does it feel as a coach to know that you're in the history books for the NCAA histories of making a tournament appearance in all 3 leagues?
Yeah, so I never really knew that was a thing until we ended up doing it. And again, it was all part of legislation, so we started off here as the Division II program, and we played in the Division II national championship game. And then what happened was Division II was starting to go away. So we had never gave athletic scholarships back then. So it was easy to get into a Division III conference. And we did that. We played ECAC Division III hockey, and we were able to get into the NCAA tournament for Division III. And then we had schools like us, Canisius and, different schools around town that wanted to play Division I hockey, and we were able to find a way to transition into Division I hockey, and then obviously play in a couple of NCAA tournaments. And I guess that's what gave me the distinction of the only coach, I think that the only coach that has taken the same program, in our case, Mercyhurst, to a Division I tournament, a Division II tournament, and a Division III tournament. So yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty neat. I'm not sure anybody really, knows about that or cares about that, but yeah, I guess it's pretty cool. But again, that was all. I was a benefactor of things that were changing around us. And obviously I've been at Mercy for 35 years. So, I've been a big part of that.
How has it been like obviously building that winning tradition and that winning culture?
Yeah, so that's a process, right? I mean, that takes time, and I kind of knew when we first got here, Brandon, that that we could become good. I didn't know how good, but I thought we could become good. I thought, in recruiting, if you could just find the right players, I thought you could kind of, start making some pretty good gains here from a winning perspective. And we're able to do that, winning championships and winning national championships, and we haven't won a national championship, but just winning that becomes really, really hard. And that's something that we continue to strive for every day, but, our culture starts with the kind of players that we get, and the coaches that we have, and we just, it's about hard work and competing and being a good teammate, being a good person, and getting to class and just doing the right things.
Of course, what does a typical game day look like on the men's ice hockey, and who are some of the teams that you face each in your conference?
Yeah, so typical game day here depends if we're home or away, because they're much different, So when we're away, for the most part, we would leave if we're playing Friday and Saturday and we're traveling more than 3 hours, we would leave on Thursday. And we'd get to where we're going and practice there. And obviously you're in a hotel and meals and video and all that. Then you play Friday, you play Saturday, then you come home. And some of those bus rides are long, 8, 9 hours sometimes. There's a couple of flights every year. We go to Air Force Academy and whatnot. When we're home, we would really practice here on a Thursday. Friday, there'd be optional ice here in the morning for the guys that want to skate because they have to go to class. Then there'd be a team meal, and then we'd have a team meeting at 5 o'clock on a Friday and play at 7 o'clock, play the game. And then on Saturday, they come in the morning, we do video. We would talk about what we want to try to do for our Saturday game. They'd have their meal, they get some rest. Come back, we play Saturday, and then we would take Sunday off, and then we'd get back to practice on Monday. So that's typically what a game weekend would look like, home or away. And our conference has some excellent teams. American International College, the last few years have been the team to beat, as they've been the champion for the last 3 or 4 years. Air Force and RIT and Bentley and Holy Cross and Canisius and Niagara. Those are all Sacred Heart. Those are all excellent programs. Army, Army West Point Military Academy. They're not an easy game for any of us.
Of course, what is that like, obviously getting to face those teams like Army and Air Force that are military schools versus facing, let's say, Sacred Heart, who is a civilian school just like Mercyhurst?
Yeah, so it's first of all, going to those places are so cool. I think you go to Army West Point and you spend some time on their post. It's unbelievable. I mean, we're so blessed to have the men and women of the armed forces looking after our interests and taking care of us. There's some unbelievable young people that are doing that every day. Air Force is the exact same way. Air Force and Army, their installations are different, just by the nature of what they do. But I could tell you they are such cool places to be at, and the one real neat thing about our league, Brandon, and Atlantic Hockey, is the one thing we have in common with everybody in our league is we don't have anything in common. Like you said, we have military academies right? Army and Air Force. We have Division I programs, or Division I schools. We have Division III schools. We have Division II schools. We have private schools. We have state schools. We have Catholic schools. So that's the one thing we have in common is we don't really have a lot in common as institutions, but what we do have in common is we have, great student athletes. We got some great coaches and we got some great hockey.
Of course, have y'all ever had where y'all have scrimmages with teams such as Maine, Black Bears, Yale, and so forth?
Yeah, so that'll be our non-conference schedule, and we're allowed to play 8 of those games. And we load up pretty good. Like this year, we're just talking earlier today. We open up with Ohio State October 1st and 2nd right here at Mercyhurst in our rink. So to have the Ohio State Buckeyes come in, Big Ten school is going to be awesome. It's also our homecoming weekend. There'll be a lot of people around, and it's going to be so exciting. But we take a lot of pride in trying to play a very difficult non-conference schedule, and we play Ohio State and Penn State. We played Minnesota last year. Like you said, we've played Maine in the past. We try to get the best out of conference schedule we can, and I think it really helps our players develop.
What is it like, obviously, as a head coach, seeing your players come out and have their dreams come true and make the NHL or even the ECHL?
Yeah, you know what? It's super exciting because every player wants to play at the highest level possible, and we haven't had a lot of guys that have signed NHL contracts. We've had 7, which I think is great. 7 guys, went to Mercyhurst University and signed National Hockey League, full contracts, which is great. There's some programs that 7 guys a year sign NHL contracts, but for us, we take great pride in that. And a lot of our guys, like you say, they go on to play in the American Hockey League, the East Coast Hockey League. Joe Duzak last year was an American Hockey League All-Star with the Toronto Marlies, and he's one of our 7 NHL contract guys. But we also have guys that were All-Stars in the East Coast Hockey League, and and again, I think every student athlete, they want to play at the highest level possible, and to watch them be able to get there is super exciting. And we love seeing that, but we're also just as proud as of our doctors and our lawyers and our dentists and our teachers, and we have some policemen and firemen, and doing great things and making a difference every day.
What does the recruitment process look like for those prospective student athletes that are looking to go into the men's ice hockey?
Yeah, so we have 2 full-time assistant coaches that go out, and they go to some areas that we've had success in, and they'll watch games and identify players. We also have a lot of potential student athletes that contact us. They send us video, they send us information. I'll be honest, it's really hard to get out and see everybody play. Actually, we can't possibly see everybody play, but sometimes we're able to just be in the right place at the right time, and you go to watch one student athlete play, and another student athlete catches your eye. So my advice to anybody is to try to play at the highest level they can, and try to be in situations where you get exposure, where the college coaches are going to come, and they can figure out where that is, and then hopefully you're playing well, and you catch a college coach's eye, and one thing leads to another, and you're playing.
Of course, what does the official visit look like for those prospective student athletes coming for the men's ice hockey?
That's a great question. So the student athlete comes on an official visit, we pay. We pay for that person to be here for 48 hours. And that starts as soon as they step on campus. And in some cases, we fly them in. In some cases, they drive in, depending on where they're coming from. Put them up in a hotel. They can eat in the cafeteria, go to class with some of our students, watch us practice, come in and do video, watch us do video, watch us in the weight room. We kind of like to think that maybe for 48 hours, they would be a Mercyhurst hockey player and Mercyhurst student athlete hockey player, and get a feel for that. But it's great, get a chance to get to know somebody better. And more importantly, or just as important, they get a chance to get to know you and your school better. So I think you should absolutely go visit that school and learn as much as you can about it.
Of course, in those 48 hours, do they get to try on that jersey and feel at home in the Mercyhurst colors?
Yeah, we haven't done that. So, but they do come sit in our locker room and, get a chance to talk to our players and stuff like that. We haven't put a jersey on anybody.
Of course, what advice would you give those high school athletes looking to go into college ice hockey?
Well, I think it's the same old same. I wish I had something secret to tell anybody, but the truth is, you know what? You have to be, doing well academically. So concentrate on your grades, get to class, put the work in, get good grades. The higher grades you could get, the more doors you're going to open for yourself. Okay. Be dedicated, get in the weight room, work on your craft, continue to develop, play in programs where you're going to play. It doesn't help you if you don't play. Play in programs you're going to play, continue to work on your fundamentals, be a good listener, be a good teammate, be coachable. Okay. And if you do all those things, you're going to be able to find a college hockey program for you.
What advice would you give those college hockey players that are looking to transition into professional hockey, whether it's the NHL, the ECH, or overseas?
Yeah, I think it's kind of the same thing, so once you get here or to the college hockey program you're at, same thing, get to class, be reliable, be dependable, be hardworking, be honest, communicate well, be a good teammate, be coachable, work hard, put the time in, spend time with the coaches on skill development, spend time with the video, and work on your game. It just, everybody wants to play pro hockey. It's hard to do that. It really is hard to do that. That's why you're here at college also getting a degree, so it would be the same advice, nothing good comes easy.
Of course, what advice would you give those head coaches that are looking to get started in the men's ice hockey on the college level?
Yeah, that's a little harder, Brandon, because you know what? There's just not that many full-time jobs that pay the bill. So I think what you have to do is you have to really, you have to put your time in. You might have to work for very little money. You might have to work for free as a volunteer. You might have to do a couple of things like that to just kind of get started. But again, I think if you get to the right programs and you're dedicated and you work hard, and it's all about relationships, right? Getting to know people and building those relationships and networking, and as you do that, you'll continue to build your network, build your relationships, and then jobs will open and, maybe the right things will fall into place. And the next thing you know, you have a full-time job and you're in the profession. And I think the toughest thing is just getting in. Once you get in, I think it'll open up more doors for you.
That's great advice. Where can my listeners find you at on social media along with the men's ice hockey program at?
Wait, I'm sorry, can you?
Where can my listeners find you at on social media along with the men's ice hockey program?
Yeah, so you know what? We're just Mercyhurst, MERCYHURST.edu. Okay, so that's the school website. You just go to athletics and then click on men's hockey. Okay, and I know we're also on Twitter. So it Hurst Hockey, okay, and whatnot. So yeah, I'd love to have people follow us. That'd be great.
Thank you again, Coach Rick Gotkin, for your interview, and best of luck in your future as the Mercyhurst head's men's ice hockey coach.
Brandon, thank you for having me. This has been a great honor and a privilege. I'm a big fan of yours and your show, and thanks again for having me on.
Thank you. You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Coach Rick, for your interview, and best of luck in your future.
Thank you, Brandon. It's been my pleasure.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.